lot of names being said, a lot of oral campaigning, as well as posters being put pretty much everywhere.
All right. Are you, may I present the exhibit to the witness? Are you familiar with Exhibit 1?
I am quite.
All right then. Would you like to explain to the court how you are familiar?
Yeah, so when we were lining up to go to lunch in the cafeteria, in the area where the lady there, and you go and you scan your card, there was a wooden sign with this slid and a plastic like lamination sort of slot, and it was there face down. When we were asked why it was face down, the lady there who was working was kind of like embarrassed to show it to us, but when we saw it, we immediately recognized it, as stuff like this is everywhere.
For the justice of the defense attorney, may I ask, do you have any bias towards Mr. Cooch?
How could I have any bias? I mean, we're in the same party, aren't we?
All right. Thank you. No further questions.
Hello. Just to be clear, did you ever see Mr. Coocher receive these materials from somebody who is not a member of the Badger Boy State staff?
I have not.
So you have no idea where this campaign material came from. In fact, you have no idea whether he actually authorized it in the first place.
Well, his name's on it, isn't it?
That is not what I asked.
His name is not on it. His name is on it.
That is not what I asked.
No.
Permission to treat? Okay, never mind. Yeah. Let's be clear. You did not witness him receive this piece of paper or any piece of paper like it, and you did not witness him ask anybody who is not a member of Badger Boy State staff for this piece of paper.
I have not witnessed such a thing.
For all you know, this could have been anybody from the National Party, and they just decided to make it.
Sure.
No further questions.
The prosecution wishes to move on. Thank you.
Mr. District Attorney, please call your second witness.
I call Trent Benishek to the stand. I would like to send my second exhibit.
Ooh.
Will you tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I will.
You got it. Hey, Trent, how you doing?
Good, thank you.
All right. How are you familiar with exhibit number 1?
I noticed that sign yesterday on the way to a meal.
All right. You recognize that here at Badger Boy State, the materials that we are allotted are manila paper, lined paper, colored pencils, crayons. Would you say that that is any of those?
Of the items you listed,
Of the items that I listed.
it does not fall into any of those categories.
All right, then. You mentioned how you encountered it. Was the defendant at all told to have this sign removed?
I have no knowledge of that.
All right. No further questions.
Again, just to be clear, did you actually witness Nicholas Coocher receive these campaign materials from somebody who was not a member of Badger Boy State staff?
I did not witness that.
And you have no knowledge that that was even created by him, for him, or him having anything to do with its creation?
I have no basis to draw any conclusion in that regard.
No further questions.
Mr. District Attorney, do you have any more witnesses to call?
One more, sir. I call Nick Meyer to the stand.
Mr. Holmauer, please raise your right hand. Will you tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
You can sit down.
How you doing, Mr. Meyer?
I'm doing all right.
All right. Do you know the defendant?
Not personally, no.
Okay. You were an attempted nominee for governor, correct?
Yes, I campaigned most of the day yesterday in efforts to be nominated. Unfortunately, I was not.
Did the defendant's actions and advertising affect your career at all?
I think absolutely. The cafeteria is a place that we all go to, we all see, and I felt really unfair to me that probably Cooch's campaign had.
Objection. Speculation. He has no evidence or reason to believe Cooch is going to create those posters. So it's not his
I do actually. So usually, if a piece of campaign propaganda is made, it's probably made by that campaign. So somebody who would make a poster for it, I'm answering the question.
Sustained.
Oh, finish the question. So I can answer the
Well,
question.
when I said you were experienced.
So I saw the poster there, and it felt unfair to me because campaign materials in support of Mr. Coocher were in the cafeteria made with illegal materials of which I did not have access to.
Again, to reiterate my point, did you actually witness Nicholas Coocher receive these campaign materials from anyone?
No.
In reality, isn't it entirely possible that somebody, unbeknownst to his knowledge, made these materials for him without his knowledge?
It's possible, but improbable.
But it is possible.
Possible, but improbable.
Is it possible, yes or no?
It is possible, yes.
Thank you.
said
No further questions. Further? Any more witnesses?
That was my final witness.
Thank you.
Would the defense like to present the first witness?
The defense calls Nicholas Coocher.
Nicholas Coocher, raise your right hand. Do you promise us to say the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Yes, sir.
Mr. Coocher, can you introduce yourself to anybody in this room who did not know you already?
I'm Nicholas Coocher.
And did you or did you not receive this piece of paper from a member of Badger Boys State staff?
I did.
Yes, you did. You received it from a member of Badger Boys State staff.
Yes, sir.
Correct.
That's correct.
No further questions.
I'm talking about witnesses. I was only from my counsel.
Lord, time constraint.
You will now proceed your cross-examination, Mr. District Attorney.
Nick Coocher. I call you Cooch.
I'm not.
How you doing? Nick, are you familiar with the 14th Amendment?
No, sir.
Well, the 14th Amendment guarantees equal protection for all political candidates. You say that you received special materials from someone, didn't you?
No, I said I received materials.
That undermines then the fact that you don't know who made that assignment, who got the materials.
I did, sir.
All right. But then, would you admit that that your campaign got extra materials?
No, sir.
Why not?
It's not extra materials, it's materials provided by the Badger State staff.
Yes, but did any other campaign States have that type of advertising?
Did they use that type of advertising?
May I ask again, do you know any other got.com?
I don't know.
Right. Well, 14th Amendment also states that none are allowed an unfair advantage. So I would then like to move on. Would you consider that sign to be an unfair advantage?
No.
All right. May I ask who gave you that? Who gave you that?
Badger State staff.
May I ask specifically who it was?
You can.
Order! Then tell me then who it was.
It was the head chef.
All right. Why did head chef give it to you?
I talked to him about my campaign. He offered me some materials and I accepted.
All right. So, does the head chef work for Badger Boys State?
Yes,
Are you sure they don't work for the college?
I'm sure.
How do you know that?
How do we eat here? Without food, we would not be able to run this camp.
Somebody also requires staff to declare? Who's to say that the kitchen staff don't want to be declare?
We work here. Without them, we would not be able to run this camp.
All right. We still have college students here, for summer semester. Again, for summer semester. Who's to say the college doesn't have cooking staff there for them?
Have they been brought up in this case?
Well, not yet. But who's to say that those kitchen staff do not belong to the college and not to Badger Boys State?
Again, how do we eat here without them?
College.
We do. Badger Boys State.
May I ask where you received these materials?
From the kitchen cook.
Was it in the kitchen?
I don't remember exactly.
Could you try to remember?
Where we eat.
Okay.
He never gave me the materials. He did it. He put them up himself.
So
I
you-
never touched the materials.
So therefore, you're contradicting your previous statement, that you gave them to you.
He helped me with it.
Again, that's a contradiction. Would you admit that was a contradiction of your previous statement?
Yes, I spoke wrong.
All right. I'd like to talk to my counsel.
I would actually like a sidebar real quick.
Yeah.
With you, brother.
Nope, I have one more question. I've received confirmation that the chef is not actually employed by Badger Boys State. As you know, Badger Boys State used to be at Ripon College, and they pay to be at their colleges every year. Therefore, we pay the kitchen staff, meaning that they are not an employee of Badger Boys State, they are an employee of UW-Eau Claire. Meaning, therefore, you received illegal campaign materials from someone who does not work at Badger Boys State.
Never said they were employed by Badger Boys State.
Oh, yes, you did.
Silence in the gallery, please. Sustained.
Would you say to be part of a staff, you have to be employed by someone?
No, there's many volunteers for staff.
All right. Would you say then that a chef that a paid chef would be a volunteer?
It can be for the Badger State, depends where you look at it.
But we already clarified that he works for the college. So then therefore, you got materials from someone who does not work for Badger Boys State, who works for and is on the payroll of UW-Eau Claire.
Staff members of Badger Boys State.
Yes, but he originally, yet his primary title, the one that he was paid for, is for UW-Eau Claire.
Objection.
Address the jury.
I'd like to address the jury. Never mind, sorry. Oh, well, I'm done. Your Honor, no further questions.
Are you done? Oh, yes. Please sit back down. Mr. Coocher, have you ever held a job?
I have.
Okay. Is it possible to hold two jobs and want to be a member of two staffs at the same time?
100%.
No further questions.
I now implore the district attorney to present his final arguments.
We've proven that the chef is not directly employed by Badger Boy State. He's not on the table. Therefore, even if he is a volunteer, his primary job is working for UW Eau Claire. Therefore, not making the statement of Badger Boy State. That means then that the defendant, therefore, was issued campaign materials that was not by Badger Boy State staff. Therefore, Mr. Cooch's actions were illegal, making him guilty. I rest my case.
Yes. Closing argument, please.
The cook is like a janitor. Although they are not always seen by everybody that they serve, they do serve. Without janitors, things would not become clean. We're a bunch of high school age boys. We typically are not going to clean up after most of our messes. The janitors do it for us. In this same vein, cooks cook the food for us. As high school kids, many of us are not that experienced as cooks, and we probably could not cook for our own here at Badger Boy State. It is possible to hold multiple jobs. Think about the people who work 2, 3 jobs just to support their entire family. Just because you hold more than one job doesn't mean that either is a primary title. It just means that you are working extra to try to help those around you. At the crux of this case is whether a kitchen staff member counts as a member of Badger Boy State staff. If they are volunteering and feeding us, if they are providing us a service, then they are Badger Boy State staff, just as the janitors are that are walking around and cleaning up our halls. To call them not staff would be to call them lesser than the counselors, and what they do is no less important than what the counselors do on a daily basis. If you convict my client, you are essentially saying that these kitchen staff are not as important as our counselors. You're essentially saying that the janitors, their job is not as important as what the counselors are doing. They are staff. Just because they are not paid, just because they are volunteers, just because that may not be their primary duty at UW Eau Claire, does not mean they do not count. Thank you.
Your Honor.
I have actually been trained at we have our last closing argument. I have actually been to BBS law school, so I am certified to speak in this case. The chef who gave that man materials works for UW Eau Claire, not Badger Boy State. And since the chef is not employed by Badger Boy State, these campaign materials were not issued by any Badger Boy State staff as said in the Badger Boy State statutes. Therefore, Mr. Cooch's actions were illegal. He is guilty. Can I ask the clerk? Statutes of Badger Boy State. That'll be dealt with during instruction. Oh, okay. Just so that the jury is clear on that.
At this time, both parties have said their closing arguments. I now charge the jury to go and deliberate on the facts of this case. And those facts will present you to a conclusion whether or not the defendant violated the statute in question. And the statute in question reads as follows. Badger Boy Statute 1.07, Section 1. Only materials issued by the Badger Boys state staff may be lawfully used by any political party or any candidate in campaign for any elective office. Any other materials used are declared contraband and must be taken down upon proper petition and order of any court. Violations may result in the candidate being disqualified from holding office. Jury, would you please step to the back of the room to go and deliberate?
Get the cameras off, the cameras off.
Quiet. I would now like the foreperson of the jury to announce whether he did or did not violate the statute.
In the case of County of Carpenter versus Nicholas Cooch, we find the statute violated.
At this time, I enter judgment consistent with the verdict. I also stay the verdict knowing that the defense clearly has entered a motion in order to appeal this case. And so this decision will not affect any of the Supreme Court's decisions down the road. Oh. This decision, I correct myself, this decision does not have legal effect pending Supreme Court review.
I have a question, Your Honor.
Yes.
While this is in effect, can Nicholas Cooch still run for office?
Yes, he can.
And when will the Supreme I'm speaking.
Quiet.
And when will the Supreme Court view this?
I'm under the impression that the defendant intends to appeal this case immediately, so therefore it is up to the Supreme Court.
Supreme Court. All right. Thank you.